Today we're going to have a look at how to fold and store sweaters. I'm going to do it on this thick winter sweater because it is the season for it, but it's going to work on any sweaters that you may have. So I'm going to show you 3 ways to do this, and then I'll show you how to hang them properly as well, and then we'll talk about some storage tips towards the end there. So let's start with the simplest way, which is going to be simply to roll them. So I like this particularly for thicker sweaters so they don't like stretch out or anything. So we're going to start with a sweater with the front facing up, and we're going to close up anything that's to close up, and then we'll take the arms and we just fold them over to the opposite side like this. And then from here, we're going to take the sweater and we're going to fold it in. You can do 1/4 or 1/3. If they're really thick, probably 1/4 is better. But for the video, let's just do 1/3. So we fold it in 1/3 the width of the sweater, and we repeat on the other side so that the other side completely overlaps here. What we want to do next is start rolling. Now you want to start rolling from the thickest area, so otherwise it's just going to unravel very easily. So you can just roll it gently up so that it doesn't stretch out. And really that's all there is to this first fold. Now this is awesome. This is my go-to way to fold up sweaters because it's going to work pretty much anywhere in your closet, whether it's a drawer, whether it's a shelf, or if you just want to keep it like available, for example, in the entryway. But I know some of you don't want to roll up your sweaters. I get it. So let me show you how to file fold them as well. If you haven't file folded before, it's essentially looking like this. It's where you stack your sweaters vertically instead of laying down so that they can be stacked next to each other. It's a lot easier to pull them out, and it works totally fine without using these boxes as well. But I can show you that afterwards. Let me just fold it up here first of all. All right, so we want to start again with a sweater laying down with the front side facing up, all buttons closed up or zippers or whatever you have. Then we're going to take the arms. I'm going to start with one arm, fold it over to the opposite side. Now if you have a thin sweater, you can just leave it like this. If you have a thick one like this one, you probably want to fold it down again like this. So repeat on the other side as well, over to the other side and then down like this. So that to create kind of a triangle here in the middle. The next step is that we're going to split the sweater into 3 parts from side to side here. I'm going to fold in 1/3 at a time. So that usually means that it meets the edge of your collar on the other side there. And the other side completely overlaps like this. Now I'm just going to turn the sweater around here so it's a little bit easier for me to see. And then we're going to start by splitting the sweater into 3 parts here again. This time we're going to start folding from the top. That's the heaviest point. And we're folding it down 1/3 of the way, like that. And we fold it over one more time like this. So you can see on these thick sweaters, it looks a little bit similar to the roll. On your thinner sweaters, I love this new closet by the way. You see it's a lot different, it gets a lot smaller. So if we compare this to one of the thinner sweaters that I have here in my box. For example, here we have the cardigans that we worked on a lot last time. We did sweaters. You can see this is going to be a lot thinner than what you're going to see that these are. But it still works awesome because you can place them standing up and down like this. By the way, if you're having trouble making them stand up, you can kind of press in and down, and that's going to make it stand on its own a lot easier. But like I said, this one is pretty thick, but you can still make it stand on its own here, like that. And it's super easy to pull out and put back in since they're vertically stacked. And this actually works in drawers as well. My drawers in particular are a little bit shallow for this. So let me show you how to flat fold the sweaters as well. Just know that if you have tall drawers, it's going to work fine to file fold them like this, even though they're pretty tall. So for the flat fold, it's a little bit different than these other 2 folds. So again, we're going to start by laying the sweater down and we're going to button everything up. But this time, what we're going to do is that we're going to turn the sweater with the back side facing up. Now we're going to take the arms and we're going to fold them up the same way that we did with the previous fold and then down like this. And over to the other side and then down like this. Now at this point, we can split the sweater either into 3 parts or we can do 4 parts. Now 4 parts is going to be the most classic way. If you're going to do that, just make sure that when you fold over 1/4 that you don't like fold over the end of your arm. And then split it into 4 parts like that. Fold in 1/4 on one side. Make sure the arm looks nice. Just fold it over. And we repeat on the other side as well. Now, I'm going to turn the sweater around again so that's a little bit easier for me to work with here. And we're going to split it. You can split it in 2 if you want to. Then you're going to get a wider and flatter fold. I like to split it into 3 parts personally. So splitting it in 3 from top to bottom. And we fold. Ta-da! And there you have a beautifully folded winter sweater. But like I said, this is going to work on all your sweaters. Now, these are pretty cool because these can be stacked on top of each other. One thing you need to note when you're stacking sweaters on top of each other, especially if you want to prevent creases and like stretching in these woolen and more woven sweaters, is that you place the heaviest sweaters on the bottom and that you don't stack them higher than maybe 3, especially if they're thick. I wouldn't go further than 3. If they're a little thinner, maybe you can do 4 in height, if your space allows for it. Now this is awesome because this is going to work totally fine to put into drawers. And as you can see, even these shallow drawers are going to allow for this sweater to go in there perfectly. What's cool about stacking them tall on top of each other as well is that if you have a very tall shelf, for example, it could be more space saving to place them on top of each other compared to next to each other. Now I know some of you are still going to say, Thor, that's not enough. I need to hang my clothes. I prefer to hang my sweaters and I don't want them to stretch or wrinkle up. No problem. But before I do that, I want to let you know that if you're tired of dealing with a cluttered, overstuffed clothing space and you want a quick win, I've put together something special for you. It's a free guide called the 15-minute clothing space makeover. It'll show you exactly how to make more room for your clothes by organizing bulky items like, for example, these thick sweaters for an instant and visible result. Now, I'm going to add a link down in the video description as well as add a pinned comment with a link to download this free cheat sheet for you. Alternatively, you could also head over to organizing.tv/makeover and download it there. Now, I hope you enjoyed this one. Anyway, let's get back to the hanging. Let's get back to the hanging. That sounds crazy. Sounds like some medieval stuff. Anyway, in order to hang your sweaters to avoid having them stretch out, we need to use a little bit of a special technique here. Not just hang them regularly, that's going to cause piling and stretching over time for these, especially these sweaters that are woven and pretty heavy. Anyway, what we want to do here first of all is again zipper up, button up anything, and then we're going to take the sweater and we're actually going to fold it over in half. Now I like to just lift it up at the middle, so grab all layers of fabric, lift it up like this, and then we put it down like this. And then we're going to take our beautiful coat hanger here and we're going to put it down just between the armpit here so that you have the actual body of the coat hanger going down towards this triangle that we created. Here we're going to take the thickest part first and we're going to fold it down over the coat hanger like this. And then we're going to take the arm and we're going to flip that over as well like this. So if we lift it up now, you can see everything holds nicely in place and the entire sweater is very well supported. So this isn't going to fall apart anytime soon. And the entire sweater is very well protected. It has a wide area and thick layers of fabric so that it's not going to stretch out easily at all over time. Of course, if you can fold them up, that's the best option, especially if you're going to put it into storage long term. But just as a short-term fix for your closet here. So that's generally the way that you should fold up and hang your sweaters, especially thick ones. Now, I want to talk a little bit about storage, especially short-term and long-term, not medium-term. First of all, if you want to store these short-term, like so that it's super easily accessible, what I recommend is that you roll them. You can fold them flatly as well, but I think rolling is the fastest way you can do it. Also, if you're going to have, for example, clothes that you use very frequently, for example, you could have multiple sweaters of the same color, same fabric, same thickness next to each other so that you know exactly where they are and it's super easy to pull them out. Another thing that I want to recommend is, coincidentally, what's going to be the next video in this winter clothing series, is that you can also position them next to, for example, other garments that you generally will use at the same time. So if it's winter, for example, that's going to be scarves and your hats and gloves. But I'll dive more into how to fold and organize these next. Just know that organizing stuff that you use often together, it's usually very efficient. Now that it's, for example, winter and you're going to use these sweaters, especially thick ones, for example, perhaps it's summer when you're watching this and you want to use thin sweaters, it's very effective to place the ones that you use frequently in the front and more accessible areas of your closet. So, for example, if you are smaller, it's easy to pull them out here. If you're taller here, like everywhere where you don't need to like bend and stretch to get what you need. As a counterpoint to this, once the season starts to change, it's going to be a lot better for you to place these sweaters that are going out of season, like seasonality, further back. So for example, this one, I would probably take out this and I will place this sweater behind the stuff that I use more frequently. Now, if you're going to store this stuff long-term, sweaters, I would roll them up like this or fold them the flat way. File fold for long-term, it works, but the thing is that you probably want to store these somewhere that they take up the least amount of space. So for me, it's going to be like the bottom of the closet, or it's going to be the back of the closet. Otherwise, it's going to be outside the closet. And for me, that's generally going to be under the bed in a box. So if you're going to store it long term, what you want to consider is that it's a dry place and that there are no like dust and pests or anything like that on your space. In that case, you should place it into, for example, a plastic box. You could also consider something like a little bag to put around it, something like, what's it called? Muesli? I don't know. Or some type of other plastic, not heavy plastic, because that's going to weigh down on your garment. But yeah, that's what I do. I just use plastic boxes made for storage personally. In addition to this, also cedar blocks are going to be quite effective. And you know those little bags that you sometimes get when you buy stuff with the do not eat, that the stuff that looks like snacks but you should never eat? Silica, is that it? Also that can be effective to pull out some moisture. And yeah, that's a big brain dump of information about sweaters. Next you can check out this video on how to store and organize your winter clothes, you know, gloves and all this other type of stuff. And yeah, I'll see you over there. Peace.